Welcome to the ID10T podcast number 1090. 1090 episodes. Let's talk about the ID10T community, which is you. Events at ID10T.com if you want to share your thing on the corkboard or thing of someone you know, or maybe you don't even know the person, but you're like, this is a great thing to share, so I'm going to share it. But this is a thing that the person made. So this is from Lisa, who writes, I want to promote my new podcast. My husband and I are in our 40s, and during this COVID time, we've had to move across state lines with our 2 children and move into my husband's mom's basement. But that didn't bring us down. I decided to use this free time and check something off my bucket list, which is doing my own podcast. On our podcast, Lyrical Breakdown, which is a great name, my husband and I choose a song and break down what we think the song means. I love it. This is a great premise. We both love all genres of music and are having a blast doing this. I'm committed to doing an episode a week for a year, even if I don't have many listeners, although I would love to have a few more listeners. I really want to show my children that if you want to do something, then don't be afraid and just do it. I also want to show that you are never too old to start something new. Hear, hear, Lisa. I applaud you. This is a great idea for a podcast. Great name for a podcast, and I love that you're doing something constructive and you're making a thing. Like this is the thing that I always say, people just do it, express your thing, make your thing. This could take you in directions you could never even have fathomed before. And also, as someone who started playing musical instruments in their 40s, I appreciate the comment about you're never too old to start something new. So I applaud you. I appreciate you. And thank you for sharing. Events at ID10T.com for anyone else who wants to share their thing with the ID10T community corkboard. This episode is Tom Lennon, the original guest, we would call him. Tom Lennon is guest prime. He was our number one guest on the podcast. He's been on several times. I've known Tom forever. He was one of the producers of At Midnight. We've worked together on a million things. We met when we were both snotty kids working at MTV in the 1900s, and just love him to pieces. Love him. Tom is someone who has such a high output of stuff, content. He writes books. He writes a series of books called Ronan Boyle, which are great young adult books. He is in a band. He writes TV shows, movies. He acts in things. And, by the way, new episodes of Reno 911 are on Quibi right now. There was a part 1 before. Now this is a part 2. It is available on Quibi. Reno 911. People always say to Tom, why don't you make more Reno 911? It is done. They did it. These are short episodes too. So you should watch and enjoy the all new, and I'm very happy to say that, all new episodes of Reno 911. But Tom is certainly someone that I look up to. He just doesn't stop to question, to second guess whether or not he should do something when he gets an idea. He just does it. And then, and that's what you got to do. So I always recommend listening to Tom. He's got some great stories and great advice on this podcast. So thank you, Tom Lennon. I adore you. And this is the ID10T episode number 1090 with Tom Lennon. Oh, we're getting old.
Initiating ID10T protocol.
Am I going to get to see you or just get to hear you?
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. Yes, you are going to get to see me. I don't know why I didn't...
Fine. Here comes the Hardwick man.
Sorry, I'm new to
There
this.
he is. Oh, look at you.
I know. Well, you have a beard. I wouldn't call mine a beard. I would just call mine laziness.
I know, but it's once you do it for a little while, I'm starting to get feedback like I've never gotten before. Like soup's positive.
Yeah, but the thing with the beard is that I can't... Maybe 1 or 2 times I've ever gotten past what I call like the itch cliff, where it's like
horrible,
that cliff.
horrible.
where
It's
it's like going up to it, and I can't stop tugging at it, and then my face
and the
gets
bummer
irritated.
is, and that goes on actually for almost 10 days. Like, it's not like some like quiet moment of like, hey, this will be better tomorrow. No, it's a long process.
and I know that the trick is to just stick with it, and I always get probably like a day away from it being okay. I'm like, I can't take it, and then I'm just peeling it off my face. I really am not, but it does look really good on you, Tom.
Thanks, pal. I got the guitar handy if we do that later.
Yeah, I got a couple.
And I believe we're in tune.
I don't know. I've been taking guitar lessons for quite a while now, like a year and a half, because I started doing guitar on stage in my act, and I know you're a good guitar player. And
well,
so
that's so funny because like I started taking lessons maybe we should talk about this in the show.
I think we're already doing the show.
Oh, are we already going?
Yeah.
Oh crap! I was ready. I'm already excited for like some big intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen him at clubs and colleges from Reno 911, Viva Variety, and at midnight. Please welcome and first podcast guest, Thomas Patrick Lennon.
Also notable as the priest in Boat Trip. Thank you very much. So Hardwick, we were just talking.
That's how we're going to credit you, the priest in Boat Trip.
Priest in Boat Trip.
The doctor in Batman. Weren't you a doctor in Batman?
I'm a doctor in 2 Nolan films, buddy. I'm in both Memento, and Dark Knight.
He sees you as a doctor. Yeah. He thinks you're a doctor.
He sees me as it's funny, Chris. I know Chris pretty well, and last year he zinged me. I got zinged by Christopher Nolan, because our children used to go to school together, and I was walking Ollie to school, and interestingly, I was taking Ollie to school on the train, just like Thomas Wayne does in Batman Begins. So I'm coming up out of the subway, and I'm walking down the street, and I run into Nolan, and I say, "Hey, Chris, I'm not that I'm a hero, but just taking a bunch of kids from my neighborhood to school on the train." And Nolan says, without hesitation, "I've got a lawyer that can get you out of that DUI probably if you want." And I was like, I just got full-blown zinged by Nolan.
If you're going to get zinged by someone, that's not a bad. And I would imagine it's probably tough because I don't know him at all. I don't know if if he has comedy energy or what. I'm assuming he does not.
He runs a little dry,
and so that I feel like he might not get the forgiveness curve sometimes. Like he might want to zing more people, and then they're like, "Wait, what?" It's like, no, I'm just kidding.
No, I was just being amusing. Now, here's what's weird. I find. It's always a test. Do you do this to people? I test to see if they laugh. And I'm yet to really find a super successful person who did not respond well. Like, I did the same thing on that same movie, like with Christian Bale on Rises. I did like a joke. He's like, "How am I going to know, bruv? How am I going to know when the camera's going to get off him towards me?" Because he sounds kind of like that. And I was there standing next to him, and I said, "How about when the camera's about to pan, I go, Christian?" And that could be the cue. And he laughed really hard. I was like, all right, cool.
You're very lucky because I feel like if I had made that joke, I feel like everyone would have been like, okay. I don't know. Those are tough ones to pull off if you're not, unless you know everyone already.
Well, but I feel that's my way of testing people out to see, like, are we going to be friends? Because I did the same thing with Clint Eastwood on that weird Clint Eastwood movie that was so strange, 1517 to Paris.
Okay.
Clint Eastwood comes in and he's getting up there. He's still got weights and barbells outside his trailer.
Sure.
Yeah, just for getting jacked. And the barbells, just are kind of from like the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like the kind of barbells where you can slide. They're like square weights and you can slide them to be different amounts of weight.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah. Right. So, Clint, outside his tour bus, which is kind of an old tour bus for his trailer, he's got barbells that if you found them on eBay would be best offer and shipping. So I'm sitting there with Clint Eastwood, and I'm like sitting in the scene, it's like it's Jenna Fisher's in it and Judy Greer, 2 funny folks. There's a lot of funny people in that movie, which is
That's
weird.
Fantastic. Yeah,
I know. Great. And I'm like, maybe because Judy and Jenna were there, but I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to try something with Clint. Let's just see how this goes. So I'm sitting behind the desk playing the principal. And I said, Clint Eastwood. And I haven't really said anything to him yet. He said, like, hey, hello, hey, yeah, that's that guy. That's up from the audition. Yeah, or something he always says. And I said, hey, Clint, I don't want to overthink this, but is there any chance that my character would have a large digital raven on his shoulder, perched on his shoulder for this whole scene? And Clint Eastwood just went, I like it. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, cool. I was like, even Dirty Harry. I mean, you just got to test and see, like, how weird are people?
Yeah, I know, but I think maybe you have a very natural comedy energy, and I feel like if I did that, it would read more like I was trying to get attention. Then
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I am trying to get attention too, and I am just scared. You know what it is? It's my way of, I'm scared. All comedy is this, don't you think? I come into a situation, I am frightened of everything, as I think most people are all the time. I certainly am all the time. I've got a meeting with Arnold Schwarzenegger on Zoom later today, and I'm going to make a joke. Me? No, of course. No, you know how I roll. But I'm going to make a joke to get over how scared I am all the time. And that's what we're doing everywhere we go, isn't it? That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. You should say I loved you in Judge Dredd. Just see how that flies. Just see how it flies. You know, actually, he was on the podcast a handful of years ago, and he was delightful.
He's a fascinating cat, man. Yeah.
Just
can you imagine being that guy? Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, a lot of ups and downs and stuff, but like, can you imagine like doing everything you ever set out to do pretty much? It's crazy.
Well, but that is an interesting kind of a philosophical.
I've been to your house. You did that.
Well, no, I mean it's an interesting philosophical conundrum because because it for the people who can deal with it, it really shows like, you know, what was the ratio of them chasing something because they thought it was going to fix them versus people doing things because they enjoy doing them, and the people who really tend to enjoy the process tend to fare better. And the people who feel like, you know, each one of those goals were going to somehow make them whole and then realize, well, that's not really how things work.
Well, that's not really how it works.
They can be very bitter and upset. Yeah. Schwarzenegger was fucking great on the podcast and super open to talk about whatever.
You know what? It was you who told me, because you had talked to him and I was going to Salzburg. And you were like, hey, I have Arnold's recommendations of the best Salzburg restaurants, which was the Goldner Hirsch, that restaurant in Salzburg at the Goldner Hirsch Hotel.
Oh, that's right. I did get a recommendation from him.
And I remember thinking, man, my life is like, I never think my life is cool based off of major events.
Right.
You know, like when the book came out and did well, wrote a book, made the New York Times bestseller list, I felt legitimately nothing ever. Mm-hmm. I had no feelings. But then when I was eating at a restaurant in Salzburg and I was like, this was a recommendation from Chris Hardwick directly from Schwarzenegger. I was like, hey man, life is cool.
This is weird. Life is like, weird.
So like a good restaurant recommendation meant a little bit more to me than, Well,
also just the fact that you sort of casually tossed off, oh yeah, I was in Dark Knight Rises and Memento. I mean, you know, like like those are cultural touchstones, and those are other people's thing. Let's not forget that Lieutenant Dangle is also a cultural touchstone for people. Like, you've not just been in other people's touchstones. You are a touchstone. You have created a touchstone for people, and the state too.
This is a weird one because I'd never really been on Redbubble. There's a website called Redbubble.
Yeah, it's all the t-shirts,
exactly. And somebody had said there's like a great like New Boot Goofin t-shirt on Redbubble of Lieutenant Dangle. So I went and looked, and I was like, no, there's like 20.
Oh yeah.
So I ordered a couple. I'm not sure if I can wear them. Feels a little weird. But one's a cartoon of me. It's not really me. It's like a cartoon of me that says, you know, like genuine ostrich 3 payments. And I was like, I think I could wear that, right? Or is that a weird thing? I don't know.
It's what you wear it to.
Yeah.
It's all context. You know, somewhere in a box, I have all my crew jackets from Singled Out, which I've never worn.
God.
And I'm starting to think
you've gotta.
Funny. Or it'd be weird. Could be weird.
It's at the right event. At the right event, it's hilarious. I've never worn it. We have a place in Wisconsin. That's where we're living for a while. We actually have a place right down the road from where Dungeons and Dragons was invented, Mr. Nerd.
Oh my gosh.
Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Yep. But I brought I have a bunch of show jackets too. Like Damon Wayans got us all made for season 1 of Lethal Weapon. These giant high school leather jackets that are made out of like 9 kinds of leather with huge patches, and it's like heavy. It's like armor.
Yeah.
And it also, my favorite thing about it, it says like Lethal Weapon season 1. And then on the front, it has my name. It says Thomas. And I was like, where in the world can I go wearing a Lethal Weapon fancy crew jacket that has my own name on the front? I'm like, that's a baller move. It really says like
walking down Larchmont going into a pizzeria. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's me, Thomas. You remember Thomas?
But
Leo Getz from
I don't know you, so you're a Thomas.
The TV version of Leo Getz.
I feel like it'd be fun to wear. Like, I would totally love to wear like a Major Dad crew jacket. Like, I want to find.
Well, what's the weirdest one you got? Because in our house, you know that Jenny was in Bull Durham, right?
Oh, did I know that? I'm not sure if I knew that.
Jenny's Millie in Bull Durham.
Oh
Jenny,
my God, that's crazy. So she has like Bull Durham swag?
Oh my God, she's got all the Bull Durham baseball cards, which is pretty cool, of all the characters. One of which is Danny Gans, the magician.
My gosh.
Do you remember that one of the young baseball players in Bull Durham is Danny Gans, the late?
That I did not remember, because I didn't know who Danny Gans was when I saw that movie.
But I think in the house, you've got some pretty neat stuff in the house. In the house, I think one of the neatest things we have is she has 2 like original Bull Durham jackets.
That's
from that movie, yeah, that are pretty neat.
That's pretty great. I mean, and also she has a connection to it. For me, it would just be like,
yeah.
I'm a dopey fan of this thing, or I don't know. Man,
if you ever don't want to wear that singled out jacket, I will take it off of your hands.
It's funny because each season was a different tour of 90s fashion. So number one, they're all
wait. Can I guess first season? Is it like a slightly whitewashed denim with a patch on the outside?
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
It might be.
Or is it actual like parachute material, like that kind of stuff?
There is one that is. There was one that was like bright white, and I think that might have been season 2 or 3.
Satin. So that would be like
a gas station one, because it was the 90s.
Sure. There's one that's like, I bet there was a bowling shirt. Everybody was always like, let's do a bowling shirt. Yeah.
There might have been. Yeah, there might have been.
A couple things we did on the state. Somewhere. I was really proud. We always did state gifts. One year on the state, and I still have it. Oh, I should announce this, by the way. The state did this giant benefit this year. And we gave some money to like Black Lives Matter and some cool venues and stuff. And I auctioned off the porcupine suit from Porcupine Racetrack. But wait. I just wanted to announce this. The mofo who bought it for $6,000 never paid for it. So I have it back. So at some point I'm going to auction off again for some awesome charity the actual porcupine outfit.
That is fantastic.
One of my favorite things we did, state, very early on, we always gave weird gifts for state. Like one year we gave everybody a second place trophy, baseball trophy.
Yeah.
But I think first year on the state, we gave everybody an autographed. We went and got like 300 copies of Dianetics.
Yes.
At the Scientology Celebrity Center in Times Square. And they gave us a discount because we were a TV show. I was like, hey, we're a TV show. Will you give us some off? They're like, absolutely, we will. They were so nice. So we autographed and gave out, to like all the Teamsters in New York, just like 300 autographed copies of Dianetics. And I remember thinking, we're so funny. We're just the best. And I know all these people were like, wow, this is one of those times where like a hoodie would have been nice, you assholes, instead of
hey, thanks.
A gag gift that's only funny to you, you drug-addled 22-year-old.
You know what I would have wanted from the state is I'm sure no one has anymore, but it was the Snuggle fabric softener.
The bear.
Which it starts talking and then Carrie just like flips out and just starts beating it out of it with an iron.
The Cuddly Soft.
Yes.
That was a great one. I think we actually got somebody accidentally. Sometimes people accidentally do your sketches again. It's happened. And that one, somebody, I think that got borrowed sort of beginning to end by, I want to say, maybe Mad TV or somebody. But
oh, really?
Yeah, it was weird. Most state stuff was so weird that you couldn't redo it anyway, but that was sort of an obvious one,
I mean, it was a groundbreaking sketch show. When I think about, I mean, I put the state in the sort of pantheon of really amazing, groundbreaking sketch shows like, Python, In Living Color, Kids in the Hall, The State. You know what I mean? It just is one of those ones. You came along at the right time. It was the 90s were a new era. It felt new and fresh, and like I connected with it so well when it was like it's like a punk rock sketch show.
We were very punk rock, and we were super, super. I mean, Ben was so punk rock that he was like on speed and weighed 85 pounds and had green hair. But we would, the State had like regularly we would get in fights where, Reno put his fist through a wall one time. A lot of crazy. We were very passionate and very angry. Speaking of when we did, I think you can go see, we did a State, like a live Zoom show as a benefit. And I think you can see it. And actually Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall, who's become a good friend of mine later in life. It's so funny. Everybody was always like, you guys are ripping off Kids in the Hall. And I'd never seen Kids in the Hall when we were doing the State. And then I did see Kids in the Hall, and I'm like, these guys are amazing. I love them. But I didn't feel like we were ripping them off in any way.
Well, also, the Kids in the Hall was it felt very Canadian to me. I mean, maybe because I knew
100%. I mean, oh my God, the fur trappers who are like canoeing through the office building
yes,
in the fur trappers.
The fur trappers in the office.
Amazing.
What did you get today?
Okay, I love that one. So, by the way, things have happened for less reason. But after that show we did, we're fully. The joke was, here's a bunch of white dudes from the State because we're a bunch of useless old white people. And we're like, we're going to see all your favorite characters from the State. Louis, the guy who dips his balls in it, Barry and Levon, and angry, sarcastic guy. And then Dave Foley came in and was like, I'm angry, sarcastic guy. And we're like, oh, no, wrong group. And then so it was so hilarious. Dave's so lovely. All of those guys are so lovely. And I just tweeted to Dave. I was like, thanks for doing our show. Maybe when COVID's over, what if we did Monsters of 90s sketch Kids in the Hall State tour? To which he was like, absolutely, let's do that. And I was like, fuck it. Maybe what if we just really did that?
Why would it? I mean, even if you did a few shows, you don't have to do 100 shows. You could just do like 5 and see how it. Right. I mean, that is epic. That's epic. Yes.
I can't get it out of my head now that it would be, like to me, it's like the very weird, very soft version of like Peter Gabriel and Sting touring together. It's it makes everybody better. Yeah.
If you talk to Janet and the Sketchfest folks, you could kick that off at SF Sketchfest. Like that is
an awesome idea.
The perfect place to do it.
When does Sketchfest come back in your estimation? Probably a year from January, right?
I don't know, actually. I mean, it's impossible to know right? I just know they'd have to start planning it soon if it was going to be.
Got to be January 2022, right? Yeah. Got to be.
God,
I love sketch. That's the kind of thing I really, truly miss the most is like the weirdness of what is called like the cramped quarters. What's it called? The club quarters? Yeah.
Oh, club quarters. Yeah.
Club quarters.
I do miss the live. I miss performing live. I don't miss traveling all the time.
Right.
But I miss being on stage and I miss Sketchfest. I mean, Sketchfest was just always an amazing time. It should just see a bunch of your favorite people all together,
so amazing,
doing fun, weird stuff on stage. The crowds were encouraging of experimental stuff.
Oh my God, yes.
Some of the
San
most
Francisco,
special.
also just San Francisco is San Francisco, man. It's so wonderful to be there. And then, yes, just the camaraderie of like, it turns San Francisco for a couple of weekends into like, it's a college town where every college student is my favorite comedian. And we're all going to like walk around the quad and get Chinese food and do cool stuff.
But this is interesting because this kind of goes back to what we were talking about a little bit ago, which is we've both gotten to do some really rad stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You in particular have, because I mean, I like to work, although I've become very comfortable like not working 8 days a week.
Really?
Just
I've gone exactly the opposite.
Around all over the place. Like I've been really kind of enjoying. Like I like being at home, and we got a dog, and I can spend time with my wife, and like
I would love to be able to do that.
Piano, play some guitar.
Yeah, right.
Do podcasts every once in a while, but your work output is insane because you're always writing like 5 things. And you're acting in things, and you're writing books, and you're in a fucking band, like a Smith's tribute band.
again, that all, yes, a little plug for the world's best Smiths and Morrissey cover band, the Sweet and Tender Hooligans. But again, Chris, that comes from a place of like, you know, like the first you do stuff because it's like, I want to do this. But then I will also say, like, sometimes the reason I'm writing 5 things is because I'm positive 4 of them will be thrown away and not even read by anybody, you know?
And that's the right attitude to have right away, because you just, you know that, you know, ideas in this town are like all of those baby tortoises that are trying to make it to the sea.
Right.
And you know that
somebody's going to bite their heads off. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. There's like,
someone's going to pick them up.
Or someone's going to step on one, or they make it into the ocean and then, you know, barracuda eats, you know, like it's very rare. Only a couple will make it through, which is why there are so many.
Make a shitload of turtles.
Make a shitload of turtles. And by the way, some of them will be turd-ols with an underlined turd. Yeah. But, you know, that's part of the process. But right now, I think I've gone the other way in the COVID lockdown, which is I now write so frantically. I feel basically like I'm in the part of Hamilton where he's like, why do you write like you're running out of time? Maybe it's because I turned 50 2 weeks ago. Yeah, happy birthday.
Thanks, bud. But as a 50-year-old like writer and comedy writer and screenwriter, that's basically like being 150. It's like to the studios. Remember when everybody looks at Woody Allen and Annie Hall, and he's got like payas and a giant Hasidic hat, and he looks like the most Jewish stereotype you could possibly picture.
You think you look like the oldest?
As a writer, if you looked at me through the lens of the movie studios, I would look basically like one of the Golden Girls for how old, incredibly.
You know, the Golden Girls were very funny. So
they were super funny, and actually, they weren't as old as they looked. Any of them? No,
especially I think Estelle Getty might have been the youngest one.
The youngest by far, apparently.
And they just made her look older.
Have you been to the site, the Brimley Cocoon line?
Oh, is that the one where you realize he and Tom Cruise were the same? Like, Tom Cruise is older now than Wilford Brimley was when he did Cocoon?
There's a day, and I think you have to be 48 and a half years old. But when you're 48 and a half, you hit the Brimley Cocoon line, which means you're the age that Wilford Brimley was in the movie Cocoon.
Wait a minute. I'm 48 and a half.
Hardwick, check Brimley Cocoon line because you're very close.
God damn it. I don't want to be on that.
No, you're going to hit it. So Chris, shit. Look at you right now. You're like young and jacked and you got guitars and you're cool. You're the exact same age that Wilford Brimley was when he started in Cocoon. But maybe, you know, sort of like how when you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, okay, I guess this looks about right. And then you look at yourself in a photo and you're like, what happened? What happened from mirror to photo? Like maybe I look like Cocoon Wilford Brimley and I'm just not aware. You're not aware. Maybe none of us know. No, but anyway, so you were saying, and this is interesting. Yeah, but so I've been writing like Hamilton on a tiny bit of angel dust during this whole COVID, just to it's it's crazy time to wonder, like, when are there movies again? When is there, we are working on a season 8 of Reno 911.
For Quibi?
Yeah, again, for Quibi. Every time I say we're working on a show for Quibi, I get to do like to handle the next 3 minutes of people being like, what's Quibi? Is it Qbert? Oh, wait, are you doing this show for Qbert?
Qbert?
And I'm like, people give me so much grief. And I'm like, okay, first of all, Quibi's mostly all people do is beg me for more Reno 911s. Then we did them for Quibi. And then they're like, well, I'm not going to do it for Quibi because it's a dumb name. And I'm like, so you're not going to watch a show you like on a service that,
by the way, it sounds like you're talking about something that someone tweeted. That to me does not sound like something someone would say to you in person.
Oh, no. People don't. No, I don't meet anyone in person, but but on the internet, people are like, and then I've started responding because everybody's just like, what's a Quibi? Is a Quibi when you have a fart that fills your swimsuit and then the air comes? And I'm like, shut up. It's a fucking really decent service.
Here's a little bit of a throwback. Here's a little bit of a throwback to, I think it was not necessarily the news. That's a great sniglet.
Sniglet. Quibi is
when you fill your pants with blah, 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 blah.
That's like a little Rich
Sniglets. Remember you had a sniglet? One was a sniglet. I remember I went to weren't sniglets on Fridays? The sketch show?
I thought they were on not necessarily the news, but maybe they were on. Maybe
all I know is as a little kid, somehow we came to California. We drove from Chicago, station wagon, no air conditioning, went to California. And my dad knew somebody at ABC News Chicago, and they got us tickets to a live taping of Fridays.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a music bed for this going to California.
Yep. Going to California with a naked.
You can tell the story.
Nice.
I'm gonna
Okay, so in the station wagon, Dad's got his arm out the window. Dad gets a bad sunburn in Arizona, real bad, like 3rd-degree blister. We get to California. We go to a taping of Fridays. The musical guest is Tommy Two-Tone, singing 8675309. We leave the studio, and my sister meets soap opera star Anthony Tony Geary. And he signs an autograph that says, "Megan, stay sweet, Tony Geary." And I remember thinking, I'm going to be in sketch comedy and meet people like Tommy Two-Tone when I'm a grown up.
The end. You know, the momentum train, because it really, I think when you're young, you think the business is about the job.
Oh,
it's going to change your life.
No.
But now I realize what you really work for is momentum.
Yep.
The momentum, you know, and so what you are planting so many seeds for things that you would just have this constant train of momentum.
Planting
seeds now that I've been in quarantine for a while,
planting seeds in a garden we never get to see. We're planting seeds
lost
in
the
the
energy
garden
for
we
momentum
never get
anymore.
to see. No, you're very right. One of my the best piece of advice, one of our very good screenwriting agent at UTA, Greg McKnight, people, whenever somebody would give me a script, even if it was amazing, and they would say, "Hey, would you please give this to your agent? It's an amazing script." And even if I read it and it was amazing, he had a really interesting response, which is he said, "No, I won't read that." And he said, "Here's the thing. I don't represent scripts. I represent writers."
Mm-hmm.
So if you had 10 scripts to look at and had, stuff like that, he'd be interested. But like the notion of like one great script will get you in the door somewhere will be sure, that's happened sometimes, but that's mostly not what happens. Mostly the same people that generate tons of different work. It's interesting, like when you need something done, always go to the busiest people you know first. Because the busiest people, like if I need something right away, I go to Weird Al. I'm like, "Hey, will you do this by tomorrow?" And then it'll be perfect and I'll have it by tonight. Because it's just like, there's the people you know that like get everything done right away. Because, I said this at Al's star speech on the Hollywood Boulevard, like the way you do something is the way you do everything. And the people creating a ton of stuff are just always creating a ton of stuff.
Well, but also you can't have a too overactive of a perfectionism, Gene. And I don't mean like you're not worried about the quality of your stuff. I just mean that obsessive thing of like
that's tough. Yes.
Of getting that inner critic out of the way and getting that judgment and allowing yourself to like, look, whatever this is going to be, I'm just going to get it out in the world and I'm not going to judge it first.
And that's a very interesting detail about tying back to the beginning of the conversation, which is there happen to be two directors. One is Christopher Nolan and one is Clint Eastwood, who basically give you one take and then maybe a safety, but often not.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually, unless there's something like the camera catches fire while you're filming, they're like Nolan especially is just like, very good. All right, moving on. And that's the thing, is knowing that you're done. Or that at least you're done for now, which is a huge step in the process, because you can endlessly pick up the stuff you're working on and go back and just start fiddling. And I do it a lot too.
Yeah, and the danger with it is you forget sometimes, like if you go back and look at something and go, I should have added this, or I just thought of a new joke. It's like, yeah, but it was
doesn't matter. Yeah,
that evolved. Like you're looking retrospectively,
right,
with newer, fresher eyes. And so, yeah, you might have a different perspective, but at a certain point, you really have to be comfortable with like, but that's what I did at the time, and that was right.
That's the time. You know what? It was interesting because like I endlessly joke that Ben and I, that our worst film that we've ever written is Herbie Fully Loaded. And it's funny because it's like, it's one of those ones that's just like low hanging fruit. It's an easy joke to make.
It just sounds funny. Like the name just sounds.
It just sounds stupid. But actually, they were like, before the world shut down, they were showing it on a Saturday afternoon at the New Beverly. And so I took Ollie, to my son, to go see it. And I was like, well, fuck. Like, there's some cheesy stuff a little bit, but it's also like, there's a lot of it that's really kind of great. And it's like, yeah, there is a thing about getting a little bit older and embracing, like, yeah, like, I definitely, oh my God, I've got some cringy state sketches for sure that like I just can't stand. Not a ton, but I've definitely got a couple. Like I dread the day the sun watches me singing like the Boner song, which is. But at the time, I was like, "This is so funny." It's just like a super
Guys,
romantic song about getting boners. I know. Trying to think when I was wrongest. I wrote a sketch one time for Viva Variety that was about. We used to always have Viva Variety always had fake commercials like Fishy Bar, the bar that tastes like fish, and like all these weird things. And one was we had a Baby Tastes Like Soup. It was just these fun weird sponsors. And I remember we had a board game that was called Where's the Lindbergh Baby? And it was about the board game was like a clue where you had to find where the Lindbergh baby had been kidnapped to. And I remember I was really mad that Comedy Central would not let us do it. They're like, you can't make jokes about the Lindbergh baby. I'm like, it's 1997. And then later I realized, no, you know what? They were right on that one.
Yeah, but you know, you were probably like 22 years old or something.
I was 22, yeah, I was 20. On Viva, I was probably 20.
Oh, on Viva. Yeah. But you know, it's good to be able to look back at stuff and have sort of a marker of, oh, I've grown since then. That was okay for them.
You got to do the turds,
but if you focus too much on it, you just need to be looking forward and looking ahead. And I just love that you never stop for too long to overthink things, which I don't. You know, I think when I was younger, I used to think, oh, you know, if I, overthinking, well, that's something that smart people do. And now I feel like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I just think it's a thing that obsessive people do. And,
it is.
And I tend to obsess sometimes. And maybe I should just not do that and just make stuff.
Sometimes you just have to but that's the other thing. And this is something that I say to myself a lot, which is a dumb thing, but it's an improv thing. And it's certainly UCB. And I know Janet and everybody would say it, which is your first thought is the best thought. And this is a huge thing to get to. But I get down to the point, not only when I'm writing a scene or a piece of dialogue or something, do I realize your first thought was the best thought. But I've now taken it to, because I'm also hella superstitious, just like, what pants am I putting on? I'm like, don't think past the first decision. Just, you made the decision, you're done. Now move on. But it was funny. So yeah, just trying everything. You got to try everything. My worst sketch I ever wrote for the state. Well, I wrote two. One was called The Dream Isthmus. It was like a fantasy island where you could get very, very reasonably priced dreams could come true.
But it was an isthmus?
If it was on an isthmus of dreams. Oh, my God. And I remember pitching that sketch and Ken Marino looking at me like he was going to punch me in the face. He hated the sketch so much that he was actively mad at me. And he was right, by the way. And then I wrote a sketch, a Baywatch spoof sketch. And I remember just like that feeling of pitching something. By the way, you want to get great at writing? Get a group of your friends together and pitch each other stuff a couple times a week. It'll make you so tough. It'll also get you ready for the movie business, the TV business, 99% of which is about, are you good at pitching people who don't want to hear your idea? And
also really who don't see it the way you see it.
100%.
And aren't invested in it that way and hear 100 pitches a day.
Right.
And,
exactly.
Yeah.
So the other my famously worst state sketch, there's a couple pretty bad ones, but I had pitched a Baywatch spoof that was just awful and about as cringy. If you read it now, actually Jim Sharp, the producer of the state, gave me the Baywatch spoof script back, and he had written on the top, because he used to be a high school teacher, he had written on the top, I think you can do better.
See me after class.
Yeah, and I was like, I was really humiliated, and it felt really shitty. And then 25 years later, Ben and I actually wrote the Baywatch movie. I was like,
did you use any of the jokes from it?
Not really, no.
Okay.
But it was like, that's the thing. Like, you gotta make some turds if some of your turtles are going to get to the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you, because I really do believe it is about making yourself right. It's easy to write when you're inspired and you have got shit to say. But I feel like
how do you write when you're not inspired?
The line of demarcation is when you go, I don't know what I want to say. I don't feel like writing. I would rather be playing video games. I'm staring at a blank screen. Time.
Yes.
How do I fucking push through?
Well, one thing that I do a couple things. One, do something dramatically different, at least for a little while. I notice you have the guitars. I have a similar thing with the music. Go do some music or something. Or what I do often is I will write something else as an experiment. So this is a little thing that was taught to me by I had a mentor. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, but so Lucas Hedges, the super famous actor in every movie right now, his dad, Peter Hedges, who's a famous playwright and novelist, when I was at theater camp with Kerry Kenny and John Hamburg and Mather Zickel and a bunch of folks in 1987, Lucas Hedges' father was a counselor at my camp. And he was only 5-6 years older than me, but he became very actively became my mentor about writing. And he'd be like, let's go down to the Lake Michigan and write a 1-act play. And I was like, well, that's going to be terrible. And he's like, 1, you don't know that. 2, 90 minutes from now, you are the author of a 1-act play. Yeah, it'll probably be terrible, but some of John Guerre's plays are terrible. Some of my plays are terrible. Fuck it. In an hour and a half, you will have a 1-act play that you wrote. And then he'd be like, to mix it up, he'd be like, let's all sit and he'd almost do a scene study, like a still life class where he'd put something in front of you and it'd be like, write about describe this in all the ways by what it isn't. Or, he was just, I had a real sort of dead poet's relationship with him. But he also taught me that writing every day is a really cool thing to do. And if you get stuck, mix it up. See, when was the last time you tried to write a poem? Write a poem. There's a part of your brain that used to read poems at school all the time. Yeah. And it works, but you need to nudge it sometimes. So that's what I do is when I have light cycled myself into a little Tron corner, my ship has blown up.
You're talking about,
which happens a lot.
The Gen X reference bank right there is so squarely in my...
Yep. I know.
I really appreciate it.
I'm a tiny bit older than you, but not, yeah. But so it's do try something else. Because right now, this year, I wrote a bunch of things just speculatively. I wrote a horror TV show that I got 0 feedback on. I don't think anyone read it. And if they did, they did not like it at all.
And you got to be okay with that too. You got to be okay knowing 100%. Yes, I spent time on this and it might never see the light of day, but the process of it was worth doing because I grew in that even if it was incrementally or I took a giant leap forward, there was growth that happened while I was doing that thing, even if it was about discipline or even if it was about just getting something 100%. Done that's going to propel me to the next idea.
You got better. No matter what happened, you got better at doing whatever this thing is that you do, whether that's writing stand-up, whether that's making movies, even acting. I mean, there's nothing better than seeing yourself in stuff that's, it's always fun to see yourself in a cool movie. Sure, that's happened to me maybe once or twice. But luckily, I've had the experience of getting to see myself in not amazing movies 60 times. And it's you know what? You learn a lot from that too. You're like, oh no, never make a face like that. And never
it's just about not when you sit down and you go and you think about your idea or whatever it is, you go, I don't know what the ending is, or God, it's just now it seems dumb. It's well, now you're judging it before you even just start spitting it out and see where
spit it out.
What it wants.
The other thing is you're going to figure that stuff later. I always wonder when people get really excited about the dialogue of something is really neat. It's the dialogue of your movie will be changed by the movie star on the day 25 times. No one gives 2 fucks if you wrote a clever ellipsis, at all.
But that's getting all the ego stuff out of the way, Tom.
I know. No matter what it is, it's so funny. You'll be on a movie that you wrote, and the movie star will be like, yeah, "Is there? I don't know. Let's try some. We can do better on this, don't you think?" And your gut is always no, we can't fucking do better. That was amazing. I wrote that. It was amazing. And then you realize no, it's better.
Be okay. You have to.
You got to be okay.
Your ego has to be okay with that. But again, do you sometimes feel like it sounds like you feel like you're maybe on a machine that you can't ever hit the pause button on?
Well, I just think that's just who I am, I guess. At a certain point, I kind of realized, like, and maybe it was right around the state, and it was a very relentless attitude we had in the state, for sure, which was we shot everything ourselves, we edited everything ourselves, we didn't ask anyone's opinions. We certainly never asked permission, and we were just like, fuck it, we're always moving forward, always be like devouring everything. And then I think, a couple spells where you really aren't doing anything. Because, like when I lived in New York, I was never in a movie for 11 years. And all I was trying to do was be a movie actor. And it was like 11 years went by and I was finally had like 2 lines in a John Bon Jovi movie. Totally true.
Wow.
And speaking of John Bon Jovi, here's the thing about great people. Did a movie with John Bon Jovi, had 1 day of work with him. And we shot on the Bowery in this like strange, like homeless shelter. Ran into him. I was super drunk 5 years later in the lobby of the hotel in Cologne, Germany, where I was filming the movie Boat Trip.
Oh, it always comes back to Boat Trip.
Ready? John Bon Jovi walks into the lobby, sees me like 30 feet away and goes, "Tom." And I was like, that guy is awesome. And it just shows you some people's brains function at a different level, like John Bon Jovi, believe it or not.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no surprise that the people who like really have that sort of like lasting success are
of course
taking a lot of swings and not afraid to try stuff over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because the things that don't work typically just fall away. People don't, like it's sort of like at some point in your life, it just sort of becomes a highlight reel, they're not going to remember, a bunch of things that either didn't get sold or didn't do well, or, like, it's like, no, but you take the swings. And
one time, Ben Grant and I were standing backstage at something with Tom Cruise, which was pretty neat. He's you've hung around with him a little bit, yeah?
Yeah, he was on the podcast. I've done some panels with him. He's always been.
He might be he's one of the most engaging guys in the world.
Lovely, nice guy.
Oh, so nice. But we were standing backstage. He's so cool when you're hanging out with him that he can get you to like do dumb stuff that you would only do if there was like a really beautiful girl you wanted to impress or something. Like it's like you end up doing just some dumb shit around him because you can't help it, because he's like, you're hanging out with Maverick, and it's,
Yeah.
But so like we were standing backstage at this like awards, we're all giving awards to somebody or some nice thing. And we're standing there with Tom Cruise. His like security detail came in ahead of him walking down the hall. And Ben and I had done a bit. We used to always do, you probably saw it, we did it at Comic-Con and stuff. We always end our big like Eisner Award presentation with a balloon drop that's like 3 balloons, because we just can't afford a good balloon drop. So anyway, one of our balloons was on the ground, and we're backstage in tuxedos, and Tom Cruise's guy is coming down the hall, this guy the size of a tank, and he spots the balloon on the ground, and he dove on it and snatched it up as if it were an improvised explosive device.
Did you think it was like a
such efficiency?
Batman the TV series, Joker
it was really bad.
Style.
It could have been like the Joker's got. He's filled them all with some crazy laughing gas.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but I know Tom Cruise's guy was ready for that in case that was a scenario, because he got that balloon up and out of there with the efficiency like I'd never seen.
Maybe Tom Cruise does not like clowns, and the guy
he doesn't. Oh, and this guy knew that. He was like, "Get this clown shit out of here." Yeah. Anyway, we're standing backstage. And this great like Australian singer was playing music on stage, and Tom Cruise turns to me and Ben and he went, "Live music, right?" And I was like, if I was in a bar and some guy turned to me in a Jimmy Buffett parrot head shirt and was like, "Live music, right?" I would have been like, "Okay, man." But Tom Cruise turned to me and went, "Live music, right?" And I was like, "You are so right, man. Live music, man."
And that's exactly what any reasonable person would have said. It is elevated.
Yeah.
It was elevated by the fact that it was Tom Cruise who was saying it.
Didn't he steal your part in Rock of Ages?
Yes, he stole my part in Rock of Ages.
By the way, do you know that I got cut out of that film? Speaking of, I was in it briefly. I've only been cut out of a couple movies, but I was cut out of Rock of Ages.
I don't know. Maybe I'll cut this part out because I'm sure people on the podcast have heard it before, because I've blabbed about it a million times. But he knew that I was in Rock of Ages because I moderated a panel with him one year at Comic-Con, and I hadn't met him before. He was a big surprise guest, and he came out on the panel. Again, I apologize to anyone who's heard this. And the first thing he says, we're about to kick the panel off. 7,000 people are freaking out, and he goes, "Hey, Chris." I'm like, he knows my name. He said, "You and I have something in common," and I'm like, "I'm pretty sure we don't." I could not figure out what that would be. He's Tom Cruise, and I'm me. And he goes, "Stacey Jack's Rock of Ages," and I was like, "How do you know that?"
How do you know that?
I do my research because I was the first.
You played it at the Whiskey, right? Or where was it? The Whiskey?
We did it at
someplace cool.
It was a club called King, and then we did it at a couple clubs in LA, and then we moved it to like a production studio, like a stage, like a sound stage, just to accommodate more people. And so I was in the first production of that, but he obviously knew that, and I was like, I'm rarely at a loss for words, but then all of a sudden he just goes, "I want to know what love is." And then he looked at me, and I go, "I want you to show me." And then he goes, "I want to feel what love is." And I know,
by the way,
and I'm fucking singing with Tom Cruise. So when you talk about like surreal experiences that you would never be able, like your fucking 15-year-old brain would melt out of your head.
But you got to try it out with these people. You got to try it out, and especially once you get around the top.
He tossed the pitch. Like I wasn't I was yes-ending him.
Yeah.
So that was 10 times better than me. Like if cool. I had been like, "Hey, Tom Cruise, I want to know what," and him going, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But it was, those experiences, when you really think back, I'm like, oh my God, like some really amazing, wonderful,
if you can find a way when you're around super, super, super famous people to make them laugh without being creepy, it's a real win. And also, Ben and I in our screenwriting book talk about this a lot. Like, if you're around super famous people and you do not ask them for anything, it's a really lovely gift that you're giving them. Like, we made it a rule, like me and Ben, like when we meet with like movie stars to write the movies and stuff, we don't accept even water from them at all.
It'd be funny if you were like, "Can I have $1,000?" Just,
look, you have it. J-Lo, we know you have it.
Clearly there's a safe in this palace.
There's got to be. So
$1,000 or a bullion.
I don't want a bottled water, but yeah. But no, we got.
Okay, you guys anything? Gold bullion, bag of diamonds? I don't know. What do you got?
Pride ourselves on, because we had a producer come in one time and did a little bit of a Jason Alexander from Seinfeld. We were meeting with Hutch Parker at Fox, and a producer who shall remain nameless came in with us on a project, and the assistant said, "Can I get you guys anything?" And the producer pulled out of his pocket a little tea bag, and he was like, "Could I get some hot water for this, please?" And it was like he brought his own tea bag. Then he took off his shoes and put his socks up on the president of Fox's coffee table.
Now that feels a little.
And I was just like, "What the? I know." There's an
Did that thing sell, by the way?
It did. It was actually, I don't want to say what it was because you'll know immediately who the producer was.
Well, then,
but it did.
We've been going about this all wrong.
Go in and ask for everything. Ask for everything.
Put your feet up on someone's desk in your socks. Well,
I would like
the idea of going into someone's office right now just gives me like.
It's so weird. It's so weird. I know.
You're gonna be around people again, but you really, in terms of like, when you look back at sort of career accomplishments, it's, yes, there are goalposts where it's like, oh, I achieved this, or I did this, or we did 600 episodes of At Midnight, or you were in this movie with Christopher Nolan or whatever. But it's really the experiential things that are the most impactful. Like those experiences that you have that as a fan and as a human being, you tuck away and be like, how the fuck did that happen? Like those are the things that make it fun.
Yeah. What I thought was really interesting is, so when I did Odd Couple, which was, critically mostly panned, but we did like 3 half seasons of it. And Gary Marshall was at every taping and always there. And I ended up becoming kind of close with Gary Marshall. And then when Gary passed away a couple years ago, I went to his memorial, which was this insane event. Bette Midler sang "Wind Beneath My Wings."
Oh my gosh.
Bryan Adams sang a song. The eulogies were Tom Hanks, Julia Roberts, Jeffrey Katzenberg, Michael Ovitz. I mean, it was just like the speeches were just insane. And you realized from the crowd hanging out afterwards, You're like, oh, I know what Gary Marshall mostly did is he made tons of friends everywhere he went. Like, that's what he did. The main thing that he did was he made a ton of friends everywhere he went. And I was like, if there's something I would look at to try to sort of emulate, it would be the real takeaway from this kind of lifestyle of like project to project to keep trying stuff is the people you take away with it.
And also, like, just work on stuff that is fun, like if you have the option, sometimes, sometimes that's not, sometimes you work on stuff and you need to work and you know, but I mean, but even in those cases, how can you make it fun? If you kind of radiate that, then what else could you possibly want or do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like I did the Puppet Master movie, a year and a half ago? It's basically like an NC-17 movie with me and Udo Kier and murderous puppets. It's one of the darkest, creepiest things I've ever seen. And I can't even say that I can really watch the movie. It's so disturbing. But Jenny Pellicker, who's in the movie with me, we've, maintained a great friendship, and her husband and I are pals, and these are the best things. And like, that's another weird one. Like Judy Greer and I were in this really, really strange movie called Pottersville with Michael Shannon. I guess I should give a plug. This is the only movie, and this is weird, of my entire career that has an actual 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. And to have a 0, that means you have to have enough actual reviews to get registered. Got it. But they all have to be 0. So
that's kind of a win, right?
No, it's an interesting piece of trivia. So the movie it's called Pottersville. It's Michael Shannon, Judy Greer, Ron Perlman, Ian McShane.
Oh my God, what an amazing cast.
And me. And it's a movie about Michael Shannon pretending to be a Sasquatch. And it's one of those ones that when you're making, you're like, this is really fun. This is going to be great. And then later on, you realize, like, oh no, this just turned into a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
But you never know. You know what I mean? Like, there's another universe where that got 100. Like, you just don't know. Like, don't.
But now I live in a world where I can text Hellboy whenever I want. And say, hey, what's up?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you just never know how things are gonna land. You don't know how a movie is gonna land. So many things happen. Which is why, like we watch pretty much any kind of horror thing we can get our hands on. And I feel like, we can be a little judgy. Oh, there weren't enough this, or there was too much of that, or that this part didn't make any sense. But in general, I always kind of land on, but it's really hard to make a movie, and they fucking made it. You know what I mean?
It's basically impossible.
It is astonishing, like the Baby Turtle thing, that anything ever gets made. And then if anything gets made and is good, like that's like, oh wow, that's incredible.
And then it makes you look at things like, then you realize, like, look at like Hotel Budapest or something that's like, then you get movies that are just great. And you're like, well, now it's really almost impossible. This is just like making a sand painting in the wind somewhere because I don't know how, Anyway.
There's so many things. Not only are there so many forces working against you, but you also have to somehow have everyone kind of work in concert.
Every accidental best thing that ever has to happen all at once. And somebody said all the things that happen when you're writing and prepping a movie, those are all true. But you should also remember that once you're shooting a movie, you're doing all the same logistical things while there's a pile of money that's on fire right next to you. Did you want to play? Did you want to play a song?
I want you to teach me something on guitar.
Let's do it.
What
would you like to learn?
If I'm too terrible, then I'll cut this part out. But I just, I
love that you've been taking lessons. So I started taking lessons also at about last year at about 50. With a guy named
you were
Mark.
already in a band.
But you know what? A cool thing is if you look at like Neil Peart from Rush, like Neil Peart at like 30 or 35 when Rush was fully established and a huge band.
Yeah.
He like took a full year and went and just studied and relearned how to play the drums in a totally different way, which is
that's kind
seems
of
impossible, but he did. What should we do? Let's see. How about you want to learn a little Smiths type thing?
You could do that, or just teach me any kind of little tricky thing.
Anything you want. It can be a song or a tip or like I don't know. We got our guitars. What do you got there?
This is a guild that I have that was actually signed by Lindsey Buckingham.
God damn it!
Yeah, we did a bit at the for the MTV Upfronts, and we came out and we played "Go Your Own Way." It was us, and we were on right before Fleetwood Mac. No joke.
Jesus Christ!
It was Reno 911, and we came out and we did like "Loving Your Shoes isn't the right kind of poops." None of us knew the words.
God damn it!
Chicken fries.
Buckingham is like.
Yeah.
We talk about like podcast guests that I think would be amazing. He would be amazing. But
I always love that he's the guy on What's Up With That they never get to. You want to do let me hear what's the hardest thing you think you can play?
God, I have no idea. I mean, I don't really know.
But everybody knows. Most guitar players, when they pick up a guitar, especially if there's cool folks around, they just play like I always do, like.
Oh, you mean when you're in Guitar Center mode?
Yeah. You always what's your Guitar Center? Everybody has a Guitar Center lick.
Yeah.
That's supposed to show, like, my other one is like Joe Satriani, you know, like.
Yeah, I don't have anything like that. Like,
hey! Can you play any chords yet? Can you play
That's the fucking riff.
What a Guitar Center. Wait, here's the worst Guitar Center one ever. Ready? Wait, sorry. This is actually really hard to play. But...
That's fantastic.
The old Sweet Child Line. Oh, wait. Did you? Oh, how about here's a good one. Here's a good one to sit down to. Okay, come. Give me your finger. First finger on the 9th fret.
All right.
And then your index finger also on the 2nd string on the 9th fret, right there. And then you're going to take your ring finger and hammer on the E, the top string there. I'm giving you an age-appropriate lick, which is the opening of Today by the Smashing Pumpkins. And then just do the same thing with your pinky. So you hammer exactly with the ring finger, and then add your pinky up 1, 2, 3, 4 frets up. So.
Wow, my problem is I have small hands, so it's difficult.
Same here, dude. Same here. I got tiny little hands. But you know who else does? Johnny Marr.
My other problem is that I can't. I can play guitar in front of people a little bit because I started doing it on stage, which is a crash course, and like.
Oh yeah, it gets really intense. Yeah.
I can't. Like, I'll practice piano all week long. I'll do a FaceTime lesson with my piano teacher, and it's like I've never used my hands before when I start playing in front of someone. The level of perfection fear is so intense that it's hard for me to play in front of people without getting super nervous.
Every time, it's exactly what happens when you start, the difference between like practicing something and then you're like, I'm going to record this on my phone, and you will fuck it up 20 times in a row when you start to.
Yeah.
Let's see. How about?
Hey man, you want to look at some amps? You here? You all good on picks? What do you need?
Oh no, I don't work here, by the way. I'm just here testing this out. Yeah.
I've been working on. This is so annoying to anyone who knows how to play guitar.
Nice. Oh, you're working on your scales.
Yeah. I'm working on the. The blue.
What key are you in there? Where are you? Right there. You're in. I can't see your whole neck. So. Nice. You're doing great. Scales is everything. Scales, you just do scales over and over. Just.
What I can't do is I can't envision the notes all the way down the neck. Like I can't.
That's a big one.
From down to like and then I think it goes. Like when I watch people shred up and down the neck, I'm like, this is some form of dark magic. Like, how are they doing that?
Everybody who's watching this should go look at the clip called Stevie Ray Vaughan Breaks a String.
Oh, I've seen that before. They fucking, in the middle of a, yeah.
Talk about giving zero fucks.
That's also the confidence of having done something a million times.
He never stops playing a solo. he just literally the song never stops for one. It's one of the great clips of all time. Google right to now tonight, kids. Stevie Ray Vaughan breaks the string.
It's stunning, and he fucking finishes like it.
He does the whole thing. He never even misses 2 seconds.
Yeah, I'm in no danger of ever being able to achieve that. But you know, I practice a little bit every day.
See, I just fucked up. I know that song so well, but because you were looking at me.
I was looking at you.
I as soon as you looked, I just immediately blew it.
Hey, what you doing over there, Tom? What you playing guitar there? Hey, look at that.
But no, it's good. This, by the way, when you can't write, when you can't think of a joke, go do this. It's also just, I think it's super important to wake up different parts of your brain.
It's funny. I'd been trading calls with Janet a month ago, and she called and answered the phone, and I was kind of doing this, and without
nice.
kind of absentmindedly, because I'll just do this while I'm doing other things just so I don't think about my hands. And she goes, "Oh, what you doing there, noodling?" And I just got so self-aware, like, "Oh God, I'm noodling. I'm so sorry. I'm so ashamed," you know. But I don't know what else to do.
I used to, when the world was open, I used to carry a Martin travel backpack guitar everywhere I went.
Oh yeah, one of those cool skinny ones.
They're great. They're so skinny and thin. But one cool thing about them is, especially because I used to smoke cigarettes. Yeah. There's a lot of times in your day where you're just like, what should I do with my hands? That's not flaming hot Cheetos or cigarettes or any other dumb shit. What's something I could do that'll keep every part of my body busy?
I love you, Tom Lennon. Reno 911's on Quibi.
Which is not the kind of fart you make in a swimsuit. It's an actual thing. And it's also not Qbert. It's also already on your phone, and it's basically free. So please stop hassling me about it.
Who's making the Qbert joke? Have you been talking to Max Headroom? Like, who's
okay, Chris. It only happened twice. It happened twice, but it was like enough that it really stung.
All right. You have more Reno 911 now. It is on Quibi, and they're digestive. They're fucking like 6-7 minute episodes.
Oh my God, they're the best. I actually think they're the ideal length for me. With a dude with like major ADHD, it's perfect. They're like 6-7.
Well, I'm glad you're writing more.
You'll miss nothing.
I'm glad you're more. Is there anything else you want to promote?
No. Go to the Renos on Quibi. Oh, you know what? No. Get the Ronan Boyle books. If you have kids and you like reading or don't like reading, then get the audiobooks of Ronan Boyle. I'm super proud of them. That's the novels I was writing. Love you back, Chris.
I love you to pieces. I hope to be able to give you a hug in person soon. Thank you so much for doing the podcast again.
You're the best.
And
love you.
I miss your face in person.
I miss you too. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
ID10T scanning complete. Enjoy your burrito.